In this video, we're diving into one of the most talked about topics of 2025, Australia's strict visa policies. If you've been following the headlines, or you're someone who's been considering a move to Australia, you've probably noticed that Australia has been tightening its immigration rules like never before. But what's really going on and why? Let's unpack this together. The big picture. It's no surprise that millions of people dream of calling Australia home. Historically, Australia has also been pretty open to migrants, whether they were skilled workers, students, or people seeking a fresh start. But in recent years, and especially in 2024 to 25, that picture has started to change, as Australia's immigration policies have always been closely tied to its economic and social needs. In the early 2000s, the focus was on attracting skilled labor to fill gaps in industries like healthcare, engineering, and IT. Fast forward to the 2020s, and we started seeing a shift. Post-pandemic economic recovery, rising housing costs, and environmental concerns have all played a role in reshaping how Australia approaches immigration. What's new in 2025? So, what's actually changing this year? Let's break it down. 1. Points-based system overhaul. If you're familiar with Australia's points-based visa system, you know that it's been the cornerstone of their skilled migration program for decades. Points are awarded based on factors like age, education, work experience, and English proficiency. But in 2025, the Australian government might introduce some significant updates. Now, the points threshold for most occupation is higher than before, meaning applicants need to score higher to have a chance of securing an invite. If your skills don't align with the priority areas, your chances of getting a visa drops significantly. 2. Stricter English language requirements. Australia has also tightened its English language requirements for most visa categories. The International English Language Testing System score needed for skilled migration visas has been increased across the board. This move is aimed at ensuring that migrants can integrate into the workforce and society more easily, but it's also made the application process tougher for many. 3. Temporary visas. Permanent uncertainty. Temporary visas have become a common stepping stone for migrants aiming for permanent residency. However, in 2025, Australia has made it clear that a temporary visa is no longer a guaranteed pathway to PR. Many temporary visa holders now face additional hurdles, such as higher income thresholds and stricter residency requirements, before they can even apply for permanent status. 4. Family sponsorships under scrutiny. Family-sponsored visas, which have traditionally been a more accessible route for migrants, are now under greater scrutiny. Background checks have become more rigorous, and the government has introduced stricter financial requirements for sponsors. This has made it harder for Australian citizens and permanent residents to bring their loved ones over. 5. Student visa crackdown. International students have long been a key part of Australia's immigration strategy, but in 2025, the government is cracking down on student visa misuse. They've introduced new measures to ensure that students are genuinely enrolling in courses to study, rather than using the visa as a backdoor to permanent residency. This includes stricter monitoring of educational institutions and student compliance. Why the tightening of visa policies? Now, you might be wondering, why is Australia making it so hard to get a visa? The reasons are multifaceted, so let's explore some of the key drivers. 1. Economic pressures. Post-pandemic recovery has been tough for economies around the world, and Australia is no exception. The government is prioritizing jobs for Australians, particularly in industries hit hardest by the pandemic. By raising the bar for skilled migrants, they're aiming to ensure that only the most in-demand professionals make the cut. 2. Housing crisis. Australia is grappling with a severe housing shortage, and with property prices and rents skyrocketing, there's growing pressure on the government to limit population growth, particularly in major cities. By restricting immigration, they hope to ease the demand on housing. 3. Environmental concerns. Climate change and sustainability have become central to Australia's policy decisions. The government argues that slowing population growth can help reduce the strain on natural resources and infrastructure, particularly in a country already vulnerable to environmental challenges like droughts and bushfires. 4. Geopolitical tensions. Australia's foreign relations, particularly in the Asia-Pacific region, have also influenced its visa policies. Stricter background checks and more selective criteria reflect broader concerns about national security and the geopolitical landscape. The human impact. Of course, these policies don't just exist in a vacuum, as they have real, tangible impacts on people's lives. For skilled workers, the higher points threshold means they're competing in an even tougher pool. For families, the new financial requirements can make reuniting with loved ones feel like an impossible dream. And for international students, the stricter rules add layers of stress to an already challenging journey. But it's not all bad news, since Australia's focus on critical industries means that if you have the right skills and experience, you could find yourself in high demand. And for those who do make it through the system, the rewards are still significant. A chance to live in one of the world's most desirable countries. Public reaction. Unsurprisingly, these changes have sparked mixed reactions, as many Australians support the stricter policies, arguing that they're necessary to protect local jobs and resources. But critics say the government is leaning too far into populism, using immigration as a scapegoat for deeper systemic issues like housing policy and economic inequality. There's also been pushback from industry groups, particularly in sectors like healthcare and agriculture, which rely heavily on migrant workers. Tips for navigating the system. If you're planning to apply for an Australian visa in 2025, here are a few tips to help you navigate the new landscape. 1. Do your research. Stay updated on the latest immigration rules and policies, as government websites and trusted immigration consultants are your best sources of information. 2. Focus on priority occupations. If your skills align with Australia's critical needs, highlight them in your application. Tailor your resume and supporting documents to showcase your expertise in these areas. 3. Prepare for the language test. Don't underestimate the importance of your English proficiency score as you consider taking preparatory courses or practice tests to boost your results. 4. Seek professional advice. The immigration process can be complex, so don't hesitate to consult with a registered migration agent or lawyer. 5. Be patient and persistent. The stricter policies mean that the process may take longer and require more effort, so stay focused on your goal and be prepared to adapt to changes along the way. What does the future hold? While it's hard to predict exactly how Australia's immigration policies will evolve, one thing is clear. The government is committed to a more selective and strategic approach. This means that migrants will need to be more prepared and better aligned with Australia's priorities than ever before. At the same time, Australia's reliance on migration to drive economic growth and innovation isn't going away. The challenge will be finding the right balance between welcoming the talent and diversity that migrants bring and addressing the concerns of the Australian public. Australia's strict visa policies in 2025 are a reflection of the country's changing priorities and the complex challenges it faces. What do you think about these changes? Are they fair, or do they go too far? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on Australia immigration trends and tips. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.